eating and mental health. So the main objective of my presentation is to explore the relationship between healthy eating and mental health, mainly highlighting the importance of nutrition, how the nutrition can support for mental well-being of the people. So as you all aware, like the food we consume plays a significant role in supporting the cognitive functions, memory, even the mood regulation, mental health, and overall brain health depends upon the whatever the food we eat. And healthy eating plays a very significant role, especially in improving or maintaining and improving our mental health. So nowadays, the more research studies have been focused on connection between what we eat and how we feel. So this growing research in the field of nutrition and neuroscience is an upcoming thing. So as you all aware, like health, so we look at the health, it is an outcome of multiple factors. See, it can be your hereditary, it can be your environmental factor, it can be your lifestyle. Even in the lifestyle, like nutrition, what we eat, or what type of health care we have, or what kind of physical exercises we are doing it. And also, it is a freedom, like how you will going to control your stress level, because stress is an inevitable in our life. Then almost so it is almost foremost a desirable physical state. It is linked with a happiness and also mental and emotional well-being of an individual. See, first and the foremost, we will look into the what do you mean by health. Definitely, if people are aware of what do you mean by health, and this is a WHO, that is World Health Organization's definition. So we say that health is a state of complete physical, mental, social well-being, and not merely the absence of the diseases or of infirmity. So coming to the physical health, as I said, there are different domains or facets of this health. So physical health, mental health, social health, like that. So when we say physical health, that refers to the normal functioning of our body. So this is one of the dimension which represent the individual's health. And it is about the physical health is about the individual's body, how the body grows, or of what type of body compositions we are having, how we feels or make movement, mobility. So how individual will take care of all these things and what they put into it, all these encompasses or indicates the physical health. Then coming to the social health, it is all about how we are being connected or belonging to one another. So it is refers to the ability to build or sustain with a relationship, and how we deal with the social conflict, whatever it comes in our family life or in a career life, and how we going to participate in a positive social work. So building a good rapport with the colleagues, especially in the working place, or respecting the boundaries in maintaining the relationships are the two important social aspects which indicates our social health. Then coming to what is mental health, like it encompasses emotional, psychological, as well as social well-being. Like all these influences the way the individual think, feel, or of act. So if you look into the key components of this mental health, say emotional well-being. When we say emotional well-being, like what type of ability the individual has possessed in managing the emotions and how they try to express their feeling in an appropriate way. Whereas your psychological well-being completely involves your self-acceptance, your personal growth, and the purpose in your life. Then coming to the social well-being, It is a capacity to form a healthy relationship so that you can able to contribute to the community. In generally, we always say mental health disorder. Like if we look into the prevalences, the incidences have been increasing. See, that's why they say that the major contributor to the years lived with a disability, it's because of the mental health. So here I have given the two statistics. One is a depression, the other one is an anxiety disorder. See, if you look into the global prevalences, like global population, more than 300 million people are living with the depression, and more than 260 million people are suffering from anxiety. So, on a whole, 14% of years lived with a disability is because of the mental disorder. Then, if you compare with of depressive and the disorder, you can notice that 50 million people are suffering, and anxiety disorder, it is 24.6 million years lived with the disability. And sleep disorder is one of the emerging field of research in mental health. Then mental wellness, mental health, and mental illnesses. These are the three different terminologies we have been interchangeably using. Like there is specification, there is a slight changes with regard to these things. When we say mental health, mainly it refers to the positive mental health. See how you going to maintain or how we are striving for the mental wellnesses so that we can working towards the good mental health. Whereas mental health, it's mainly indicates your cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well-being. See how the individual think or feel or how they behave and what hurdles they're going to have it. So it may be the conflicts with the other people or how you will make a choices. All these things indicates your mental health. When we say mental illnesses, this is nothing but the disorders with which the individual suffer from. So these conditions, that is mental health disorders, are the condition that affect our mood, our thinking, as well as our behavior. So mental illnesses come in many forms. Even the symptoms and the treatment uh, again varies individual to individual. So always the mental health fluctuates between good and poor. When we will going to be in a good mood or in a bad mood, that we will not know because it depends upon the situation. Then even these mental illnesses are constantly present until the individual get the proper treatment and recovered from that situation. So coming to the importance of mental health in life, say as you all aware, like your mental health again determines your physical well-being, and even your mental health have an impact mainly with regard to our emotional status. And also mental health help us in realizing how worthy we are, like self-worthness. Then it boosts our confidences so that we can take a proactive role, maybe we in our work or career. Then mental health is a key element for personal success. Like if always we are suffering from the depression or of anxiety or something else, then we may not able to achieve the success in our life. So mental health can also impact our social life because getting along with the other people depends upon our mental abilities, mental status, and it also will going to affects our relationship with the other people and again our work. So the productivity of our work again it varies or it depends upon the mental health. So mental health affects our safety and also various challenges which comes in our walks of life. So on the whole, this mental health impacts the quality of life of an individual. So mental functions and efficiency depends upon the various factors which are or have play an interplay or interdependence role. It's not the nutrition alone will help you to maintain your mental health. This is one of the factor. There are many factors which influences on our mental health status, like genetic factors, prenatal conditions or of postnatal development, then psychosocial stimulation, whatever we have received, especially during the childhood years, living environment, then our education, learning opportunity, healthcare, and what type of exposures we have, positive exposure or negative exposures to the situations, then food and nutrition security. All these factors are interplayed, and those factors are very crucial for our mental function. So here, uh, various factors, as I said, influences on the mental health. So usually we classify this influencing factors under three important domains, like biological domain, psychological domain, and sociological domain. When we say biological domain, so mainly it refers to our genetics, brain chemistry, physical health, and how these things will going to help. Maybe you people have heard of ಅಪ್ಪನಂಗೆ ಕೋಪ ಇವಳಿಗೆ ಮೂಗನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಮೂಗನ್ ತುದಿಲೇ ಕೋಪ ಇದೆ ಏನೋ, like those things indicates like a biological component influences on our mental health. Then even personal experiences, that is especially what type of worthiness, self-worthiness or self-image we have. Okay, so if anything goes below or it affecting our self-image or of self-worthness, then again our mental health is going to be affected. So even our emotion, how much of emotions we are supposed to show it, how we have to regulate our emotions, then what type of coping skills we have. So all these things have a very important role in maintaining the psychological health. Then coming to the sociological domain, always we focuses on relationship, the life events, especially negative life events, then socioeconomical status, our culture, education, our working environment, and what type of support we will going to receive, what type of family dynamics in which we have been living. All these have an impact on mental health. So next is healthy eating. So what do you mean by eating? See, whatever the food we take, okay? But when we say healthy eating, always that focuses on, like, for a longer period, if we consume that, we will be healthier. So it refers to a plan for eating healthier over a long period. That's why we say this, there is no a strict diet to be followed just for a short time. Okay, and also there is no special foods. Okay, andre ide food tindre you will going to be healthy antanu every time we cannot say that. But foods whatever is available in the market, or the food which provides the energy or essential nutrients are required for our body. So that's why we say that healthy eating focuses mainly on, like, what type of healthy food we are supposed to take, then it's not just only taking away unhealthy foods. So healthy eating is a pattern of eating usually that supports to physical, mental and emotional health, as I already mentioned, because always our diet or our food is diversified or it comes from the different sources. And even we are supposed to have a balanced food choices so that the individual needs for nutrients or of energy need to be met. But it is not just a single practices or a behavior, it is the complex in nature. That's why we say that it is a balanced, varied diet that provides the essential nutrients which are all required for the optimal health of an individual. So healthy eating emphasizes on importance of incorporating the foods that nourishes the body and supports the mental well-being. Is this much clear? Any doubt?
Yes, ma'am. No doubt.
If there is no doubt, I will go ahead with the next slide. See, we'll just look into the terminology. What do you mean by diet? See, if we refuse to eat something, everybody will ask us, are you on diet? Okay. See, diet is nothing but the food or a drink. Usually, whatever we consumed is it called as a diet. So, vegetarian diet or non-vegetarian diet or vegan diet, all these things you are aware of. But if you look into the dictionary meaning, diet is something which comprises a variety of food, and also it provides the adequate amount of nutrients that is required for maintaining the good health. See, somebody who wants to lose the weight, okay, then that person will have a particular diet or a food pattern which the person consumes for till he attains or she attains her goal. So we'll just look into the meaning of balanced diet. So when we say balanced diet, it focuses on the right type of food and the right amount of food or a drink which we are going to have it. So when we say right type or right amount of foods, that is nothing but the foods which supplies the nutrition and energy so that it helps us in maintaining our body cells or tissues or of organ, that is a physiological functions, so that it supports for our growth and development of the human beings. See, in a simple way, you can define this balanced diet, like how much of calorie you will take, okay, the intake of the calorie, and how much of calorie you are going to burn out. So, if calorie is same, like intake of the calorie is same with of calorie out or burnout, then we say we have a balanced diet. Okay. So calorie, as you are aware, it is a unit of energy, and measurement of calorie in a food, again, it depends upon how much of potential energy that food has possesses. So on the whole, you can define this balanced diet. It is a wholesome and nutritionally adequate diet. So when we say balanced diet, the four key essential nutrients are going to make up this balanced diet. See, what are those four key essential nutrients? First is the fruits and vegetable. Second is the protein. Third one is the fiber-rich carbs and good fat. See, fruits and vegetables, we are supposed to consume it every day in a larger quantity. But we are not consuming it in right amount. Maybe very less quantity of fruits we are taking. Then coming to the protein, fiber-rich carbs and good foods. Again, these are all the other three important things which we are supposed to take care in our day-to-day diet. So this balanced diet can be achieved by eating a diverse food so that all essential nutrient should be available to the body. And there is no single food that caters to our essential nutrients. We have to depend on the diversified food pattern. See, maybe you people have heard of how the food been classified into different groups. See, cereals and millets, we say that. See, we South Karnataka peoples are using rice as a staple food, whereas North Karnataka people are using more of a jover as their staple food. So North India people more of wheat they are consuming. But now the trend is changing. Here also everybody are going for this wheat and jover. And ragi is the another important cereal which have been consumed especially by the rural people. Same way, the pulses are there, vegetables, nuts and oil seeds, green leafy vegetables, fruits, dairy products, roots and tuber, flesh foods, spices and herbs. All these things have to be present in our day to day food. So that's why adequate quantities of food, at least from 5 to 7 food groups, should be consumed daily. This is advised. But do you think, are we all depending on 5 to 7 food groups every day? Are we consuming it? That is a question mark. Say other foods may be consumed at least 2 to 3 times a week. Other than this, so this method of ensuring diversity, variety within the group is required, and that will going to meet adequacy of most of the nutrients. So when we say the nutrients, like amino acids play a very important role, that is nothing but a protein, and even along with amino acids, the essential fatty acids are required, vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, fiber, bioactive substances. All these are all very much needed for an individual. So even that's why we say that our day-to-day diet, balanced diet, should include all these things like turmeric, cumin, ginger, garlic, cinnamon, pepper, cloves. So which are all rich in antioxidants. Okay, so these things can help us in maintaining the balanced diet. So the my plate for the day, this is a figure which indicates like how our diet should be. If I am an individual who needs recommended dietary allowances of 2000 kilocalories, and how much of carbs or of fruits or of how much of protein, nuts, all that should be taken or considered. So this is ICMR, National Institute of NIN, that what we call it as, has given some guidelines. Okay, so how we can achieve the balanced diet by uh, including all these diversified or different food groups in our diet. So the quantities of food needed to meet a nutrient requirement, age, gender, physiological status, physical activity. See how much of RDA is required for the infants is different from preschooler. Preschoolers are different from school children, adolescents. Again, with regard to geriatric population. So that's why age, gender, physiological status, where pregnant women need extra, lactating women need extra kilocalories of energy. All those things need to be taken into account. So that's why they say that 45% of our calories must be met from cereals and millets, and 15% of calories from pulses, beans, and meat. And the rest of the calories can be distributed like nuts, vegetable, fruits, and milks. So 50 to 55% of total calories should be from carbohydrates, then 10 to 15% from the protein, then 20 to 30 from dietary fats. So just to indicate the importance of balanced diet during the different stages of life. See, usually the lifespan of an human being is classified into 8 stages, like starting from prenatal, pregnancy period, then infants, toddlers, then preschoolers, school children, adolescents, then adults, again in the among the adults, early adults, middle adults, elderly, like that they have. So during each stages of life, this balanced diet caters to the various functions. See, mainly for growth and development of infants up to 6 months, exclusive breastfeeding is mandatory. Whereas for 6 to 2 years, again along with the growth and development, the brain development is so rapid. So it is necessary to provide the breast milk along with nutrient rich complementary food. Then for a preschoolers, that is for their growth, development and cognitive development, they are supposed to provide this balanced diet. See, if anything goes wrong, okay, if the child won't get the proper diet during this developing period, then there is a chances for having the borderline deficiency or of mental retardedness. Then another important stage of life, it is what we call it as adolescence, which extends from 10 to 19 years. So there the maturation takes place. So usually you can notice the growth spurt. Growth spurt is nothing but the rapid increase in height and weight of the individual because of the biological maturation. Maybe in Kannada we say, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಹೋದ್ ತಿಂಗಳು ನೋಡಿದೆ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ಲು, ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬೆಳೆದಿರೋ ಹುಡುಗಿ ತರ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಹೆಂಗ್ಸ್ ತರ ಕಾಣ್ತಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಿ ಮೆನಾರ್ಕಿ. So that is nothing but a growth spurt. Okay. Then with regard to the reproductive age from 15 to 40 plus years, here it is necessary for an individual to meet extra nutritional needs, because that is a period where the child bearing or of rearing work is associated. Then for adults, like maintaining the health, because already they're going to be working, so their productivity and diet related diseases may affect their health. So even for elderly people, just for being physically active and healthy, they need to consume the balanced diet. Hope everybody have seen this food pyramid. Okay, so when we say food pyramids, it is the larger amount of vegetable and fruits we are supposed to consume, and it is followed by cereals and nutri-cereals. When we say nutri-cereals, siridhanyagalu athwa millets anta whatever you call, that is a thing. Then milk, curds, pulses and legumes. Then in the least amount you are supposed to consume nuts and seeds or fats and oils. So this is an example given for an individual who requires 2000 kilocalorie per day, and how much of foods like vegetables or fruits that person should consume. So here, what are all the essential nutrients which we are supposed to consume it? See, from the beginning, I am telling it should provide the energy and nutrients, required amount of nutrients. So what are all the essential nutrients? See, nutrients, usually we need it in a larger quantity or in a smaller quantity. So when we need the nutrients in a larger quantity, we call that as a macronutrients. The nutrients that we need in a smaller quantity, we call it as micronutrients. Say carbohydrates, protein, fats, all these are all called as a macronutrients because these are all very, very essential. And these nutrients especially provides the building blocks for our cell, and also it provides the energy, and it helps especially in carrying out the various physiological or biological functions, and also it attends to the wear and tear, that is repairing of our body system. Whereas micronutrients, usually vitamins and minerals, which we call it as micronutrients, and these are needed for whatever the chemical reaction that takes place or happens in our body, especially in every second. So, vitamins and minerals, we call it as micronutrients. And as you all aware, our body is made up of water, that is 60 to 70% of our body is composed of or contains water, and water is also very much required for our chemical reactions so that our cells are going to be function normally, and also we will keep ourselves alive and well in our life. So these are all the nutrients, the functions and the sources. Like as I said, carbohydrate, especially fiber, starches and sugars, and these are all very much required for carrying out the various daily activities, and also it helps for brain function. So your whole grains, brown rice, oats, quinoa, fruits, vegetables, legumes, all these helps us in getting the carbohydrate. Whereas protein, that is also called as amino acids, which are all very much needed to build or repair our tissues, and also to it supports our immune health, and also helps especially in the production of enzymes and hormones in our body. See, for example, the meat, poultry, fish, egg, dairy products. Okay, so all these are all the sources for amino acids. Then coming to the fats, usually we classify the fat as a saturated and unsaturated fats, and these are all required especially uh, as a concentrated source of energy, and also it helps us in observing the vitamins, especially fat soluble vitamins, and these things helps to support the brain and cell health. Say omega-3 or of omega-6, which usually we get it from the fish or from certain small amount even in the nuts and seeds, especially avocado, olive oil, all these are all required. And it is an advice always we are supposed to limit our saturated or of trans fat, because that again leads to disease. Vitamins, usually we classify it as the like listed as 13 essential vitamins, like for example A, C, D, E, K and B vitamins. These are all very, very essential for our bodily functioning, and even if anything goes wrong with these vitamins, for example vitamin A may leads to blindness, or vitamin D deficiency leads to rickets. The same way vitamin C affects your immunity, then B complexes again will make you uh, like easily fatigue, or your energy metabolism is going to be affected. So fruits, vegetable, dairy products, fortified cereals are very much needed for your maintaining of bodily functions. Again, minerals like especially calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sodium, potassium, chloride, sulfur, all these are all required mainly to maintain our bone health. Like for example, calcium is required to maintain your bone health. Iron is required for carrying out the oxygen from to the cells, and also it regulates our hydration, like how much of sodium has to be there, potassium. Otherwise, again, it is going to affect our biological functions. Then zinc and magnesium, which are all very essential minerals, helps for metabolism. So again, dairy, leafy green, nuts, seeds, whole grains are required. So water, every day you are supposed to drink 2 to 3 liters of water, because it maintains hydration, your body water content. It regulates your body temperature also, and it aids the digestion, and also any toxic, if it is present, that also can be removed with the help of the water to the certain extent. So drinking too much of water, consuming the fruits, especially watery fruits like watermelon, oranges, and also the cucumber, all these things can help us in maintaining a certain amount of water in our body. So this is just a suggestion given by ICMR, National Institute of Nutrition, the recent one, 2020. They have just modified, and they have given how much of cereals, how much of pulses, how much of green leafy vegetables, roots and tubers the person should consume. See, we're all sedentary worker, like we don't do more of strenuous work. So how much of calorie, all these? So you can refer this in ICMR NIN. There is a recommended dietary allowance book, and that can help you in knowing all these things. So healthy eating is a lifestyle. See, always we have to remember that we have to enjoy whatever we eat. So we are not supposed to have a feeling of deprived or of overly restricted. And your physical activity is very, very essential. That like especially helps you in utilizing all the nutrients, whatever is present in our diet. So eating variety of food from all the major food groups is required. And growth and development, again, depends upon what type of balanced diet you have consumed. And it helps you to maintain your health, and also for your brain functioning, immune function, everything depends upon your diet. That to be, if it is a balanced, then you can be healthy. So nutrient must be obtained through the judicious choice and combination of variety of foodstuffs. So choosing the food high in fiber and complex carbohydrates like whole grain, fruits, vegetables are required. Even healthier fats, olive oil or canola oil, even nowadays cold pressed groundnut oils they are using. So as far as possible, try to eat unprocessed food. Even added sugar, fat, sodium can be cut down. And exposing ourselves to the sunlight is very, very essential for obtaining the vitamin D. And non-starchy fresh vegetable and green leafy vegetable must be included in our diet. At least 30 grams of fruits in every meal, it is advisable. And even consuming 50% of cereals and other grains as a whole grain for adequate nutrients and fiber is recommended. All cereals-based diets are accompanied by adequate pulses and beans is advisable, so that you can have a good quality protein and fiber in your diet. And adequate quantities of nuts and oilseed or a fatty fish, or restricting the cooking oil usage, maybe minimal, 25 to 30 grams is advisable. So restricting the meal frequency for 2 to 3 times a day. Less than that is also advisable, but they say at least 2 or 3. I think there is Kannada saying, ಒಂದು ಸಲ ತಿನ್ನೋನು ಯೋಗಿ, 2 ಸಲ ತಿನ್ನೋನು ಭೋಗಿ, 3 ಸಲ ತಿನ್ನೋನು ರೋಗಿ, 4 ಸಲ ತಿನ್ನೋನು ಹೊತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಅಂತ. So there is a Kannada thing. That means if you keep on eating, because your intake will be high, your burning of energy will be less. So that's why restrict your meals. Then even ultra processed foods or food with a high in fat, sugar, salt, things need to be avoided. Even sugar, so as far as possible, 20 to 25 grams per day is advisable for an adult. Then not snacking in between or of consuming healthy beverages are required. These are all the benefits of healthy eating, especially for adults and children. See, for adults, that whoever is have a habit of consuming a balanced diet or of healthy eating, that person can live longer, and the skin, teeth, eyes, everything will looks healthy, and muscles development is also will be good. It boosts up their immunity, it strengthens their bone health, and there is lowers the risk of heart diseases or of diabetes. Even certain extent of cancer can be reduced, or the incidences whenever they have compared, it is very less among the people with a healthy eating. Then even it supports a healthy pregnancies and breastfeeding. Maybe you people have heard of first 1,000 days, how the nutrition or of our eating habits play important role. Even our digestive system functions depends upon our healthy eating, and it helps to achieve and maintain a healthy weight. In case of children, again the teeth, muscles, healthy weight, bone health, then growth, immunity, digestive system, then brain development, all these things depends upon the uh, whatever the healthy eating practices we are having. Just looking into the impact of healthy eating on physical and mental health. So, nutritious diet supports the healthy growth, development, and maintenance of bodily function. And even whenever we follow this healthy eating, it can reduces the risk of chronic diseases like obesity, diabetic heart diseases, and even certain cancers. And mental health, like it is an emerging research area, so where they are trying to explore the connections between the diet and the mental health. So nutrient rich foods can improve the mood, and also it enhances the cognitive function, and even it lowers the risk of mental health disorders like especially depression and anxiety. And research for earlier research studies have provided the evidences for this. So the effect of food, that is the relationship between diet and physical health, is already established, well clear, and mental health is an emerging area. See, nutritional neuroscience, you people might have heard about. This is a emerging field where it is the studies focuses mainly on the effects of various components of diet, like for example, mineral, vitamin, protein, carbohydrate, dietary supplement, and even if person depending on the synthetic hormones or of food additives, how the neurochemistry, neurobiology, behavioral cognition issues are influenced or affected by. So there is a question, like earlier it was there, nutrition, is nutrition related to mental health and cognition? But the present research has clearly established the relation. Yes, there is a relation between mental health and the cognition. If our nutritions are good enough, then human cognition, behavior, and emotion are also will be healthy. Otherwise, it increases the occurrence of common mental disorders, depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder. And even many emerging evidences we can found in the research, like the diet where the lower intake of vitamins, minerals, omega-3 fatty acids, then um, mental disorders are high. Daily supplementations of these things have also proved in the intervention studies, like their condition can be improved. So supplements of amino acids again definitely reduces the behavioral or emotional symptoms. The nutrition plays a very important role. That's why they say that right kind of fuel is essential for our body. The same way, right nutrients is required for our brain functioning and emotional well-being. A balanced diet must provide the brain with the necessary building blocks, like what we call it as a neurotransmitter, like serotonin, dopamine. All these are all the neurotransmitter which are required for maintaining or of regulating our mood and also anxiety. So poor nutrition can lead to the deficiencies in neurotransmitter functioning, and also it increases the symptoms of depression and anxiety. So nutrient deficit can also affect our cognitive functions. Overall, it may affect our resilience, mental resilience. So some of the essential nutrients which are all required for the brain health, like omega-3 fatty acid, like which are all essential for reducing the inflammation, and also it is needed to regulate our neurotransmitter path. Even neural signaling, everything depends upon this omega-3. That's why they say that for children, it is advisable to give this omega-3 fatty acid. Fish in the whoever takes fish, they're going to get this omega-3. Then vitamin B, again that is required for synthesis and repair of DNA and RNA. Again, these two has the impact, directly impacting our mood regulation and cognitive function. So vitamin E, vitamin C, selenium, all these are all the antioxidant vitamins that are again required so that it protects our brain from oxidative stress. This stress which can damage the cells, and also it is linked with the neurodegenerative diseases and mental decline. And even the various types of diets they have been prescribing to promote the brain health. Say Mediterranean diet, which are all rich in fruits, vegetables, olive oil, and also the whole grains. And these Mediterranean diets are required to enhance both cognitive as well as our mental health status. See, wherever this child, especially suffering from the condition like epilepsy or with a bipolar disorder, in such conditions, they also give ketogenic diet. When we say ketogenic, which is having high in fats, low in carbohydrate. So this stabilizes the mood, and that's why it is advisable to the epileptic or of bipolar disorder patient. Then even many people ask me like, is it ketogenic have a side effects or not? Yes, definitely for a longer duration, it will have a side effect because having high fat and low in carbohydrate is not an easy task. Then plant-based diets like intake of your fruits, vegetable, nuts, seeds, whole grains are associated with a lower level of anxiety and depression. These are all the research-based findings clearly provided the evidences that diet plays a very important role in our brain health. So studies have shown a strong link between the dietary habits and the prevalence of mental health disorder. So diet which are having high in refined sugars are often associated with the worsened symptoms of mood disorder, including the depression. See, conversely, where the diet rich in vegetable, fruits, unprocessed grains, fish show the lower incidence of depression and anxiety. So this suggests high quality of food contains not only the essential vitamin and mineral, but also the other compounds that can influence on the brain health. Then another important topic, that is of processed food. So again, this processed food have a negative impact on our physical as well as mental well-being. See, because in the processed food, there is a lack of essential nutrients, or like for example, high diet high in processed food may lead to the deficiency of nutrients which are required or critical for brain health, like omega-3 fatty acid, B vitamin, antioxidants, which are all essential, is very low in a processed food. Then even it has an impact on brain function, like nutritional deficiency can impair your cognitive functioning, emotional regulation, and even there is a chances for increasing risk of anxiety and depression. Then again, processed foods which are frequently high in added sugar, especially which leads to rapid spikes and crashes in blood sugar level, that can also contribute for mood swings, irritability, and fatigue. Then diet rich in trans fats or saturated fats, which are all commonly found in a processed food, that are also linked with the inflammation of the body. So inflammation has been associated with a higher risk of developing mental health disorder. So microbiome health, that is your gut microbiome. Again, this plays a very important role in maintaining the mental health. So there is a chain which they call it as gut-brain axis, and this gut-brain axis helps, especially if you are taking a healthy food. And processed foods have a negative effect on our gut, so that the growth of harmful bacteria which can be promoted because of the processed food. Then an imbalanced gut microbiome is also linked in the research, like there is a tendency to increase the anxiety and depression, and healthy gut bacteria produces the neurotransmitter which are all very vital for maintaining our mood. And another study research indicates that diet high in processed foods are associated with a higher risk of developing mental health disorders such as depression and anxiety, and consumption of unhealthy diet can exacerbate existing mental health conditions. On a long term, again, you can notice that like cognitive declining or of emotional stability or linked with the processed food. So nutrition's role in adulthood, like where this is a transition period, like whenever we're going to establish a family or a career. So usually adults, young adults, they are under the work pressure, or too much of family responsibility will be there, or they're going to have one or the other kind of a stressor in their life. So even various research studies have clearly indicated that chronic stress in adulthood can often lead to the poor eating habits, creating a vicious cycle, and it worsens the mental health. So even the diet which are rich in refined sugars and processed food can increase the risk of developing conditions like anxiety and depression. Even it leads to burnout, that is a peak stage of stress. Then another thing is a binge eating. When we say binge eating, it is a mental illnesses mainly characterized by recurrent episode of consuming larger amount of food in a shorter period. And this is also accompanied by the feeling of loss of control and a significant distress. As you are aware, adolescence is a stage that is 10 to 19 years of age where they're going to have eating disorders. Say anorexia nervosa, bulimia, or of binge eating, which are all commonly noticed at that stage. And these eating disorders have a profound impact on the mental health, And the person who is suffering from binge eating or of suffering from these eating disorders have an issues like suffering from low self-esteem, anxiety, depression, and also social withdrawal. They prefer to be in an isolation rather than mingling with the others. And also they are going to have a poor body image, and this societal pressures to conform to the idealized body type and emotional regulation difficulties are the key factors which contribute for the development of eating disorder during the adolescence. Especially once the girls attain their menarche, the parent will start telling, ದಪ್ಪ ಆಗ್ಬೇಡ ಕಣೆ ದಪ್ಪ ಆಗ್ಬೇಡ ಕಣೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಏನಾದ್ರು ತಿನ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದೆಲ್ಲ ತಿನ್ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು. So all these things again will lead to the poor body image, and that in turn the person may suffer from various mental health disorders. So some of the unhealthy eating habits and mental health: ultra processed foods, trans fats, overconsumption of refined sugar can lead to the risk of developing various mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, even ADHD, that is attention deficit hyperactive, and even leads to the autism spectrum disorders. See, according to the various research studies, like consuming a diet that lacks the essential nutrient, especially vitamin, mineral, omega-3 fatty acids, can lead to imbalances in brain chemistry, and it can also lead to the mood disorder such as depression and anxiety. Then blood sugar imbalances, where the diet having high refined carbohydrate and added sugar, and that can also leads to the affect our mood or energy level. Maybe the person will show irritability, fatigueness, difficulty to concentrate on anything, and even chronic blood sugar imbalances can bring in type 2 diabetes, and also the later on it may leads to the depression and anxiety in such way. So diet which is high in a processed food, trans fat, sugar can also leads to inflammation in the body, that is linked with the increased risk of mental health disorder. And chronic inflammation can also affect our normal functioning, especially of neurotransmitter, and that in turn affect brain structure. Then gut brain connections, again unhealthy eating habits like especially the diet low in fiber or high in processed food can negatively impact our gut health. So that also gut microbiota is associated with mental health issues. Then weight gain and body image, that is another thing, like unhealthy eating habits, overeating or of consuming excessive amount of unhealthy food can leads to weight gain or of poor body image. So usually that can lead to low self-esteem, decreased self-confidence, also increase the risk of developing eating disorder. So how to boost our mental health? Through the nutrition. So always we are supposed to eat a balanced diet, and we are not supposed to take processed food. Try to have freshly prepared foods, avoid processed one. And in your diet, try to increase the omega-3 fatty acid. Then limit your sugar consumption. Even caffeine, it's not advisable. Having 5-6 times of coffee or tea, all that, that's not advisable. Drink plenty of water. Stay hydrated always. Then incorporated fermented foods, okay, rather than the processed food. Then include the brain boosting supplements. Practice mindful eating. Whatever you are consuming, try to give attention to that. Okay, so that's what we call it as mindful eating. You should aware of how much you are consuming and what you are consuming. Plan and prepare your meals. ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ತಿನ್ನೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಇದನ್ನೇ ಇಷ್ಟನ್ನೇ ತಿನ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ if you plan, that is always leads to good health. Even if your condition is not in your control, there are professionals. Try to seek their professional guidance in maintaining your health. You can approach the nutritionist, dietitian, or the clinical psychologist or psychiatrist to address your health issues. It's the same thing. Simple steps that can help you to make incremental changes in your daily diet. Eat a balanced diet. Avoid processed food. Increase omega-3 fatty acid. Limit sugar and caffeine. Stay hydrated. Incorporate fermented food. Include brain boosting supplements. Then practice mindful eating. Plan and prepare meals. This is the same thing. So a balanced approach with a mindful portion of size and mix of safe, nutrient-dense options promotes long-term health. So in conclusion, I'd like to state that healthy eating is a cornerstone of mental well-being. Nutrient-rich diet provides the essential building blocks that are all required for our brain health, and also it stabilizes our mood, enhances the cognitive functions, and also supports emotional resilience. Conversely, a diet high in processed food, sugar, unhealthy fats contribute for mental health challenges such as anxiety and depression. So by prioritizing the whole unprocessed food, uh, it's always better. Maintaining the gut health, individual can foster a strong connection between their diet and the mental state. So what do you have to do? Adapt. The good practices are healthy practices, healthy eating practices, and that not only promotes your mental clarity, emotional stability, and overall quality of life is also going to be enhanced. So we always believe that healthy eating is not just for our physical health. It is a vital ingredient for a healthier mind and for a more balanced and fulfilling life. So healthy food for wealthy mood. Eat healthy, live long, and live strong.